I am here to tell you what I watched in the month of July. I definitely did much better than in June when I only watched 7 movies. So I have a lot to get through today. I don't know what came over me in July. First 3 movies you probably won't care about. It's very random, very crazy. I started off with Our Lips Are Sealed from 2000, the Mary-Kate and Ashley movie. Mary-Kate and Ashley go to Australia. Like many millennial women, I was a huge Mary-Kate and Ashley fan back in the day, and I wanted to revisit. I've been meaning to revisit, but I was putting it off because it was going to be a flood of memories and it's just going to be a lot. You know how it is. So I finally popped it in one day when I was feeling like crap, and Our Lips Are Sealed is still very awesome. It's very good. It was really funny. It had a few weak spots, but I think in terms of Mary-Kate and Ashley movies, this one is a great one and it still holds up really well. Next, you know what? I had opened the floodgates. I was ready for more. So next was Billboard Dad from 1998. This is another Mary-Kate and Ashley movie, and this was one of my favorites back in the day, and it's because the twins played divers. They were like divers and swimmers, and I really liked that because I was a swimmer. But watching Billboard Dad again now, it sucked. It was terrible. There's only like one good scene, and that was the scene with the eggs at the beginning. But this movie is mostly about the adults. It's just really stupid and really bad. Finally, in my Mary-Kate and Ashley stint, I watched Passport to Paris from 1999, another favorite from back in the day. Passport to Paris had some kind of like femme, slightly punk music going on in there. I always really loved that. And Passport to Paris has really cool fashion. I mean, that's what Mary-Kate and Ashley movies are known for y'all who aren't into it. It was a good movie. It's still really good. My husband watched that one with me and he liked that one a lot too. Okay, moving on to adult movies. In honor of the 4th of July or whatever, we watched Independence Day because I've never seen it. That's from 1996. Most of you have probably seen this movie, so I don't need to like explain it to you, but it's very extra. It was very extravagant, over the top. I mean, it went all out in every way. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was good. Like, it kept my attention. I thought it was pretty well balanced. It was just fun. Next, it was my turn to pick the movie for me and my husband to watch. So I picked Old from 2021. I was curious. But it was not good. It just wasn't good. The story was okay overall, but like, it wasn't a fun time. It's definitely a nightmare. It's definitely designed to confuse you and keep you trying to guess what the twist is gonna be the whole time, and it's sort of frustrating, you know? No comic relief at all, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it was a very serious and nightmarish movie. When I was done with that movie, I looked in the mirror and I was like, I'm so young! But that was not a winner. And next, I watched Black Magic Rights from 1973. This was sent to me on DVD from Brian. And okay, I gave it a harsh review, but I've sat with it. It's very bizarre. It's directed by Renato Pulselli. Dream logic, absurd, psychedelic, weird, what's going on. It's one of those movies where you need to just know ahead of time. The story doesn't matter. You don't need to know what's going on. Just roll with it. You know what? I think looking back on it, I like it. It's got some beautiful imagery and it's got some cool characters, specifically the character Steffi. There's a lot to say about this movie. Maybe eventually I should just do a full review, but if you've seen it, please let me know in the comments. Next, I watched Host from 2020. This is like a found footage movie, but it's a Zoom call. It's about these friends who they're hanging out on Zoom because it's the pandemic, and they do a seance. They have like a guest that I guess they paid to come conduct a seance with them, and things go really wrong. I think this movie is really interesting. It's going to be kind of a time capsule for us because there's so much like pandemic language and pandemic culture anchored into this movie that, you know, in 50 years or something, people are going to be like, what are they, like, what is this weird terminology they're using? I don't know. I feel like one day it's going to age, I don't want to say age well, but it's going to age very distinctly. The movie was really good. I like found footage, and I appreciated the simplicity of the story, and I thought it was really effectively scary, and I don't want to say realistic, but it took a lot from reality. Next, I watched this movie called Dashcam from 2021, and like many other people, I watched the wrong Dashcam. So I watched one directed by Christian Nielsen, and that's not the one I meant to watch, and that's not the one that a lot of people meant to watch. It was about this guy, he's a news editor, and he's working from home, and he's piecing together this story on a murder, and there is dash cam footage of the murder, and he's waiting to get that in, and the government or whatever accidentally sends him the wrong information packet. So the whole movie is like him going through the information packet. I made a joke saying this was an 1.5 hour long Adobe tutorial. It was fine. Next up, I watched Giallo in Venice, but as I said recently, I feel like I can't say I really watched Giallo in Venice because I watched the full moon cut, which was only 1 hour and 14 minutes long, and it was entitled Gore in Venice on Tubi, and it cut out like apparently a lot of sexual activity, and I know it also cut out a dismemberment scene. So I missed the good stuff, but that aside, I think Giallo in Venice was a good movie. First thing I noticed was the Interrobang soundtrack. They recycled the Interrobang soundtrack. So they took this 1969 soundtrack and put it on this 1979 movie, and it just didn't fit. It didn't fit. Interrobang is at the beach. Giallo in Venice is not the same vibe. This movie, even though I watched the cut, it's still quite sleazy, kind of like in a rapey way. It's tolerable, but this girl, Leonora Fani, she's great, but she like specializes in these like sexual violence films. How does somebody end up there and say like, I want to be in rape movies? Like that's where my talents lie. So of course I saw her in Hotel Fear. It was awful. And it looks like she's just in a lot of kind of movies of that nature. So in Giallo in Venice, she also plays this character that is being sexually abused. She does do really well. She is really lovely. And the ending to this movie, which I won't spoil, but the ending is awesome. I really liked it. It was really powerful, you know? I also feel like I have to say something about the cop who eats the hard-boiled eggs. There's a cop in the movie that eats hard-boiled eggs the whole time. Yep, that's funny. Okay, moving on. Oh, it was Zach's pick. So we watched Baby Driver. And it's like an action movie, but it's like music infused. It's very interesting. Baby Driver came out in 2017. A music infused car action flick. It was pretty enjoyable. And there were times where it even felt like a musical. It was really unique. Okay, next, this was another DVD from Brian. I watched Faceless from 1987. This is a French slasher, which I guess it's probably pretty famous. I don't know. It was so good. I loved it. It was so 80s, like high heels and saxophones, and like the glamour was so real, and the story was really good. I had a blast. That one got 4 out of 5 stars from me, and also a heart on Letterboxd. All right, next up, I watched The Third Eye from 1966. This is an early black and white Giallo. I wasn't going in expecting much, but I was excited right off the bat to see Franco Nero and Erica Blanc, 2 little Giallo babies. It was fun. It was kind of like one of those Descent into Madness films, and yeah, I enjoyed it. Next, I watched Baby Oopsie. So I love demonic toys, and recently I saw that there's this movie called Baby Oopsie, which very clearly looked like Baby Oopsie Daisy from Demonic Toys, and I was like, what? I guess I'm not up to date with Full Moon or anything, but I started looking into it, and then I saw that this comedian that I like, Libby Higgins, is starring in Baby Oopsie. I was like, so it has Baby Oopsie Daisy and Libby Higgins, and I didn't know it existed? So I was really excited. I had very high hopes, and I got on Tubi and watched Baby Oopsie. And let me tell you, that movie is nearly perfect. I loved it. I still can't stop thinking about it. I want to watch it again. Part 2 has just come out as well. It was just so good. Libby Higgins was amazing. The humor was so good, but it also had some really nice, brutal, scary moments. There's so much to be said. Maybe I should do a full review about Baby Oopsie as well, but what did I give it? Okay, I gave that 4 stars. It should probably be more like 4.5. It kicked ass. This was a 2021 movie, so there is still hope in our modern day and age. Next, I have never seen Puppet Master, and since I watched Baby Oopsie, I was like, all right, let me do this. I mean, I love puppets. I even went to puppet camp when I was a kid. So the title has always intrigued me. So Puppet Master is from 1989. Puppet Master is like Demonic Toys in that it involves animated toys. Puppets in this case. And they're killer puppets, of course. I thought there would be like a puppet show or puppetry, but they might as well be toys because there's no puppeting. It was a good movie, all around good movie, just in the same sense that like Demonic Toys was a good movie. I just love killer toys. Next, I watched Messiah of Evil because one of y'all, I'm sorry, I don't remember who, mentioned it on the Discord. And this is from 1973. It's just a horror movie, and I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was innovative. I thought it was beautiful. I'm not gonna say what it's about. It's just definitely worth a watch. I think it's highly beloved in horror circles. I found it to be really unique. Had plenty of dream logic, but it wasn't frustrating. Yeah, I was a really big fan of this one. I gave it 4 stars out of 5 as well. Next, I watched The Nude Vampire because one of y'all, I'm sorry, I get my comments confused sometimes. One of y'all was telling me about those twins because I was talking about how I like Twins of Evil, and one of y'all was like, you need to look at these other twins, the Castell twins. They are fantastic. They didn't have a very big role in The Nude Vampire, but they were so darling. And I think The Nude Vampire is also, it's one that I kind of gave it a harsh initial reaction, but the more I have thought about it, this too has also grown on me, and I'm appreciating it even more. Oh yeah, and it has such a weird ending, but like in the coolest way. In my review, I called this movie straight up goofy, absurd, bizarre, artsy, and ridiculous. But again, and this is what I'm a sucker for, we have some beautiful visuals. It is a stunning movie. Probably one I'm going to come back to. Maybe do a photo shoot inspired by it, you know, if I wrap myself up in an orange curtain and walk the streets. I could be a vampire too. Next, this is another one from Brian. See, I've been trying to work my way through these DVDs, Brian. I watched Dracula from 1958. It's a Hammer film starring Christopher Lee. I did not know it was from 1958. I was trying to guess the year the whole time I was watching it, and I was like, it's gotta be like 68? No, I was way off, 58. It was really good. I mean, just classic vampire shit. It was beautiful, gothic, and I had a blast. I've only seen Peter Cushing in Twins of Evil so far, so I've only seen him as a bad guy, so it was funny watching him like be the good guy in this movie. I think he did them both very well. Next, I went with my friend to a screening of Gothic from 1986. I don't know what I was expecting. I heard that the movie was bonkers, and that's all that I knew. It was weird. It was a drug movie. I don't know. It just felt unpleasant to sit through, if that makes sense. But like, I guess that was the point of it. There were certain parts that I liked, but I don't know what it was about the movie that I just really didn't like overall. I think it was rather jarring to see Mary Shelley and others being portrayed in such a way, but maybe they were like that. I don't know. I don't know much about their personal lives, but they were all just portrayed as very, very undesirable, unhinged, and unmanageable people. Have you seen this movie? Let me know. I'm like, how did I get here? Next, I wanted a supernatural movie, and I heard that Ouija wasn't good, but that Ouija Origin of Evil is good. So I was like, I'll just watch Origin of Evil. Well, my friends, it was not good. I love Ouija boards. I think they are terrifying, but I'm just so disappointed that we can't seem to make a movie about Ouija boards that is good or scary. But I think it's because we try to put too much in. Like, why can't it just be a Ouija board session gone wrong? I don't know if it's just me, if I've seen too much like this or what, but I didn't think Ouija was effective or enjoyable. Next, I watched The Laughing Woman starring Dagmar Lassander, or is it Lassander? I don't know. But I've wanted to watch this forever because of Dagmar, of course. And I was nervous, because it's not a horror or a giallo or anything, so I didn't know if it would be my style. But I am happy to report that I loved it. I loved The Laughing Woman. And it was such a nice helping of Dagmar, and it was so like pop art and beautiful, some beautiful interiors and just some weird stuff going on. I mean, it had a twist, a lot was going on in this movie, and I really did like it, and I would like to own it. Next, I watched Nope from 2022, the new Jordan Peele. I won't go into it too much, but I loved it. I thought it was great. My husband loved it too. It was awesome. I wasn't expecting it to become what it became, and it was a blast. Next, I watched Clerks from 1994 because I'm a huge fan of Clerks 2, and yet have never seen Clerks. I know. Plus, with Clerks 3 coming out next month, I was like, I need to watch Clerks. Let me say, I am glad that I watched 2 before I watched 1 because, I don't know, it was just, I feel like I appreciated all the characters more because I'm like, oh, look at little baby Randall, I thought Clerks was really good. I mean, I really appreciate the low budget feel and just the way that conversation, when it's done right, can make an entire full-length movie, can carry an entire full-length movie, even if it's just in 1 or 2 rooms. Next, I watched Zombie, aka Zombie Flesh Eaters, aka Zombie 2, the Fulci film. I thought it was a blast. I mean, a zombie fights a shark underwater. I love Fulci. I was in a Fulci mood, and I was so glad that I have more to discover from him. So really enjoyed Zombie. Oh yeah, that came on DVD from Brian, who is obviously changing and shaping my life. Next, I watched So Young, So Lovely, So Vicious from 1975. And I think it was Scott who posted this on Discord. So this is starring Gloria Guida and Dagmar. And this was on my watch list. Okay, it was on my watch list. But the reason why I was hesitating is when you Google it, it says it's a porno. So I was like, I don't know, like, I'll probably make my way to it eventually, but it turns out this movie is like super tame, and I'm glad that I just clicked play on it. But I think it was so good. Most people hate it, but I loved it. I thought it was so pretty, and like, it was just a drama. It was kind of like a cheap Lifetime movie or something, but I loved it. Gloria and Dagmar were just exquisite, and we had some beautiful, beautiful scenery in this movie, and a really weird, like, synthy soundtrack that kind of sounds like a video game. I would love to own that too. Next, I watched Incantation from 2022. This is a Taiwanese found footage film that's currently on Netflix. I like these Asian found footage films, and Incantation I think was really, really good. It had good scares throughout. It starts off really strong too, so there are some like slow moments, but it's not one of those slow burning build up movies. I think the film was really effective, and it found a way to interact with you. It involved you, and I thought there was something so creepy and effective about that. Next, I was like, I need some Lifetime movies, and so I just went to see like what's on Hulu. I don't know why I chose Hulu, but Hulu had this movie called Who is Killing the Cheerleaders? And I said, oh, that sounds awesome. It's from 2020, and sadly, it was not good. Don't let that title excite you, because there's not a lot going on. It was rough. It wasn't heavy on death or crime. There weren't like slasher elements. It was just like kind of a drama. But that's not what I wanted. But the next movie I watched was even worse. Her Deadly Sugar Daddy from 2020. This is probably the worst movie I watched all month. Yes, it's about this girl and her boss, and he's not a sugar daddy. And that's pretty much it. And finally, I watched Antlers from 2021, you know, because I'm trying to like make sure I watch some modern horror. I don't know how much people know about the movie, so I don't want to tell you what it's about, but I'll describe it a little bit. This is a very gloomy, sad, and dreary movie. Similar to Old, it is not a movie that has any fun or any comic relief. Like, it is just depressing, and it's a lot like a drama with horror mixed in. It's not like a let's sit down on a Friday night and eat popcorn and watch Antlers. Instead, Antlers is kind of a depressing experience, but the horror parts are freaking cool. So I thought Antlers was pretty good. It was definitely better than Old, that's for sure. That is what I watched in July. As you can see, I was very busy. Hopefully I didn't forget to say something I wanted to say, because that was a lot. It was a lot. Hey, look at my Letterboxd if you would like to see reviews, and in each review I give like a little sentence or two explaining what the movie's about and then explaining my thoughts. So check me out on Letterboxd. I have reviews on all these movies. Have you seen any of the movies I watched this month? I'm sure you have. Or have I piqued your interest in some of these? Let a hoe know. And that's all for this video. Ciao for now.